This is my Bubbie's Florida kitchen. Today we're making chicken cacciatore. Ingredients for chicken cacciatore: flour, salt and pepper, olive oil, red pepper, garlic and onion, and mushrooms, lots of parsley. I like to use chicken thighs, bone in, skin on. We've got chicken stock, some homemade sauce, and red wine. First thing, we have to prepare the chicken before we brown it in the pan. So I want to dry the chicken. Water will stop the chicken from really browning well, so I like to dry the chicken off. I'm using tongs just so that I don't get my hands all funky. Chickeny. Chicken funk. All right. I'm gonna salt and pepper and flour this chicken. Okay, here we go. A good amount of salt and pepper. We want this chicken to be nicely seasoned. Both sides. Okay. Now, I'm going to dredge it in flour. I like the boneless, I like the bone in, not boneless, the bone in and the skin on, because I really think it gives the dish a lot of flavor. And we're going to brown the skin. And we're going to make sure that the liquid doesn't go on top of the skin so that it gets mushy. It stays nice and crisp. Now this dish, chicken cacciatore, Mama never made chicken cacciatore. She used to make chicken with red sauce and potatoes and onions in the oven. Aunt Grace made chicken cacciatore. This is kind of my riff on Aunt Grace's recipe. Sometimes Aunt Grace would do it with lamb, but I like chicken. Okay, I'm going to clean this up and get ready to fry. My pan is nice and hot. I'm going to put in some olive oil. And I'm going to put the chicken in skin side down. Of course, I'm using my Florida pan in Florida. I want the skin to get nice and brown. So I'm going to let it cook. And while the skin is browning on this side, I'm going to get my mushrooms ready. I want to dry them. And then I'm going to cut them into quarters. After my chicken is ready, and I take that out of the pan, I'm going to brown the mushrooms. I want them to be nice and brown, and if I cook them with the peppers and the onions, they'll get mushy, and I don't really want that. I don't want them to steam. I want them to brown. As soon as we have this ready, we'll be back. The chicken browned on the first side. I just browned it on the second side. Not quite as much. It's a little lighter on the bottom side, but this is nice and crispy. I cut my onions. Just cut them in quarters. Some salt. A little pepper. Now, we're going to let these mushrooms brown. First thing that's going to happen is lots of the pepper got me. First thing that's going to happen is some water is going to come out. I'm going to let the water dry up, get them brown. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to cut my onion and my garlic and my pepper. I'm going to use this whole onion, half the pepper, and 3 cloves of garlic. I'll be back. Our onions are nice and brown. The water is gone. We have a dry pan. Okay. I'm going to put in a little more olive oil. And my onions and my red peppers. Half of the red pepper sliced nice and thin, and my onions sliced nice and thin. I want them nice and soft. While these are cooking, I'm going to mince up my garlic. Be right back. Okay. We have a little color on the onions. The peppers are nice and soft. I'm going to add my garlic. Garlic only takes about 30 seconds. It's chopped really small, so it'll burn if you spend any more time with it in the pan without some liquid. I'm going to use an equal amount of the wine and the chicken stock. And this is actually homemade tomato sauce. I made macaroni the other day, and this is what I had left over. It's all about 1/3 cup, equal amounts. So put in the wine first to deglaze the pan. I'm gonna get my mushrooms back in so that they could get a little winey. I like to wait for most of the wine to disappear, for it to evaporate. And if you don't like wine, I guess you could just put water or a little more chicken stock. But the red wine is just wine that Richie's going to drink tonight. I always use the wine that he drinks. Then I know it tastes good and it's going to flavor the food really well. I'm going to lower the heat. Add about 1/3 of a cup of chicken stock. This is about 1/3 of a cup of homemade sauce. You could use a little canned sauce if you want. Aunt Grace always uses Del Monte. Mama uses Del Monte too. Like when I make gugutza, I'll make it with Del Monte. I didn't want it to go down that low. All right. I'm going to put the chicken back in. Keep that nice crispy skin on top, above the liquid line. Just a little sizzle, a little simmer. This is going to cook for like 40 minutes. We'll be back. It's been 40 minutes. I did temp the chicken. It's 175, which is where you want it to be. I'm going to take the chicken out. Because as you can see, I made spaghetti. We like to have chicken cacciatore with spaghetti. So first thing I'm going to do is put in lots of parsley and a secret ingredient, zest from the lemon. It's not a secret anymore, but let me get some lemon zest here. It just really brightens up the sauce. Don't need a whole lot, just a little bit.
Looks nice. Has a nice color to the sauce now.
It looks very rustic because cacciatore means hunter's stew. So I guess they used, long time ago, they used rabbit when they were making it, or whatever game meat they had. Mix the sauce all around the spaghetti. Put this in a nice big bowl. Look at that, right?
Looks good enough to eat.
Good enough to eat, good enough to eat, yep. The mushrooms, the peppers, the onions, every last piece. Put my chicken back on. Look how nice and brown the chicken is. And it cooked nice and slow. Clean up my dish. A little parsley on top.
Very nice.
Good enough to taste.
Yes, there you go.
We'll clean up and do just that. Now for the best part. We're going to taste this. Nice piece of chicken. Some spaghetti. We like a little pecorino romano on our spaghetti. You don't have to do that. The perfect bite. The skin is still crunchy. That's good. That's really good. The mushrooms are great. This is a really nice sauce. It's delicious. The way that the chicken stock, tomato sauce, and wine come together with the mushrooms. Here's a piece of pepper.